What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls,
Gotcha. I can't do it every time.
aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, Gail. Are
This,
you genuinely confused, or is
I,
this
I miss
your is this your
I missed
bewildered look for the intro?
that was the look, but I missed what Ashley did.
And that's what
That
I
was,
didn't do that you
She
missed.
didn't do. She didn't do her thing.
Yeah.
see, I missed a genuine shock because then I was like, wait, what did I miss?
That's fair. We didn't know the episode was starting because she didn't do it. It's okay.
Dang,
Either
caught
way,
up.
we are back for another episode of the Right Quality Podcast. And man, the time, at least by the time y'all see this, the time will be here. The NBA Finals will officially be not underway just yet. Well, it'll be a couple days from when y'all are first seeing this, but nonetheless, it's about that time. We talked about the conference finals in the last episode, and I would say they delivered to some degree, but I will also say they were underwhelming in some degree. Depends on your perspective, the lens you're looking at it through. But we'll start with the series that is currently over at the time of recording. We don't typically start out west, but we have to go there because the Thunder made quick work, of the Wolves. And I am surprised not by the Thunder winning, but more so by the way that the Timberwolves played and therefore how they lost this series. Disappointing more than anything. Just saw we thought we would see a little bit more fight. But yeah, thoughts on the series, and y'all take it whichever way y'all want to. But yeah, thoughts on Wolves Thunder.
Miguel, go ahead.
I'm sad. I'm sad. Sad wolf noises. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Julius Randle revealed his old ways, which was always a possible threat. I think in that clip, if we dive deeper, I also said like it could go one of two ways where it's like, oh, this could be a win-win, or we can see. I think what I didn't say sell it for scraps, or we get what we get, something along those lines. But we get what we get is Pouty Pants McGee. And it's like, it's the Western Conference Finals. You're gonna have a turnover and not run back. Show like you're facing the team with like if you want to talk about ethical basketball or like, playing with honor on every play, like they have like every single person that walks into that game is willing to like die on the court, like for each other. And like even if you're frustrating yourself, like, man, I turned it over, like, like show some decency to at least like half jog back, like show some sort of like honest effort of like, my fault. Like you do a down and back when you airball in a Clippers practice, whether Kawhi agreed with that or not, but like not now. It's the Western Conference Finals. You can't be doing that. And then Ant looked gassed. And that's just that. I think that's showing kids, if you're watching, that's team basketball versus some person trying to do it on their own. Like if you take Shai and Ant player for player, probably very, very close on like the highest level. But Shai could go out of a game and chill. And like his team, they'd go up by 15 more points somehow. So I think that's just depth. That's the star players like Jalen, J-Dub showed out for a series. Like I think the Western Conference boogeyman, or they didn't even make it there last time. It was a second round boogeyman that he had to escape that narrative from last year. He showed up. Chat looked great, being like, 1A, 1B, 1C, whichever one came out for the night in terms of like what they showed. Caruso, Dort, like as a back-to-back tandem, they could sub in and out to just harass Ant over, those 5 games. I think that wore him down, seeing doubles all the time from guys that, they just have bodies. Bodies, whatever
Hey,
Franklin said.
you should have said all of them. He said about four or five
Truly, honestly, they are so deep, and it's like I think it's just a testament to like what they've produced there. They had a boatload of draft picks over so many years and still probably do. And guys that bought in to not, having to be the main guy. They have a lot of guys that could be not 1As everywhere, but like guys, if you gave them long enough leash, would be a solid, starter of a franchise somewhere if they were like like they had a lot of lotteries. So, yeah, I don't know. They've been cooking. So this is gonna be scary if they get one this year, this young, and like if that nucleus, if they don't, let a core piece walk, which you could call a lot of those guys like some pretty core pieces along the way, but yeah, I don't know. They look really, really good.
I think we're taking Anthony for granted, and I'm scared for him because I think a lot of people are hitting the panic button. Like, guys, he's 23. He's 23. He's done a lot early, and I feel like he could potentially be getting the Jason Tatum treatment way earlier than Jason Tatum got that treatment. And I don't know if it's fair. Also, his supporting cast is young. Like, I love what you said, Miguel. Like, this is team basketball versus hero ball. And it shouldn't be all on Ant. And I think the Wolves need to do a better job of creating, a bench or having role players that can support Ant when he's off his game or off the floor. Like we saw Rudy in the first round against the Lakers drop almost 30. We saw Julius give, the Thunder the business, but like it's inconsistent. And so when one's off, the others can't be off too. They have to step up. And I think that's a little bit of what was missing. And I think Ant is getting a little too much flack. Of course, he's going to have the most attention. Caruso is not a slouch defensively. I saw a couple plays where Caruso was literally like hawking Ant. And it's like, these are,
Hawking everyone.
Yeah, everyone. And it's like, these are plays that Ant will be able to learn from. And let's give him the grace to do that. That's all I had to say about it.
I think you're not wrong. It's just hard when, I don't know. It's not like they didn't try and play team ball. Like Jaden McDaniels just started 0 for 6 in that last game. Like good shots, good open corner shots. Just a guy that averaged 20 that series just couldn't hit. They squandered game four. Squandered it. 20 points from Dante, 60 bench points to like 20 something, or could have been 30 by the end of the game for OKC. Ant has 2 points in the first half. Julius has a stinker. And ends with like 15. That's like, like I get, we have to give him time. Give us 20 and you win that game. But you can't waste that. You can't waste that. Like 60 bench points. Granted, J-Dub and Shai put up 75 together. So that is also a reason. And yeah, your starters, you have the other starter is Gobert and Conley. So they, as a starting unit, probably put up like 23 that game, essentially. Can't get it done. Jaden had probably like 20 that game because like everyone else played well besides Julius and Ant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if it's like a retool, but it's so you can Julius played up to get trade for something at least, like for most of the playoffs. If they didn't see, the temperament in the last
2 games,
the last game of the finals for them is do or die. Oh, sorry.
No, like I said, I think it was very frustrating, and I think it starts with Ant, but I think as a team, just as a fan, even if you're not solely a Minnesota fan, it was frustrating. I agree on all the points that both of you all hit. I think the narrative, kind of to your point, Ashley, I think the narrative surrounding Ant now, I don't think anything that anybody has been saying for the past couple of years, this entire season, and even this playoffs, even things that we've all said on this show, I don't think any of that is inaccurate, right? But I do think that I don't agree that Ant has been crowned too early because the talent is too obvious for that to be the case, right? But I do think that because of how young Ant is, he has to go through these stages. a lot of people will look at the fact that, okay, he's been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals and could only win one game. And then on top of that, he himself as an individual player has been outplayed by the player on the opposite side, whether that was Luka last year, whether that was Shai this year. Did they play better teams both years? Arguably, yeah. Well, definitely not. I mean, definitely for sure this year they played a better team. I think a lot of people argue Dallas was better and just probably had hit their stride a little bit more last year. But all in all, I think this is all part of Ant's arc, all part of his narrative. We all remember Kobe having the early struggles and the playoffs. We all remember, I mean, Bron is Bron, and Bron definitely has some memorable moments. But clearly, like he got to one finals and he got to some conference finals, but he clearly didn't get over that hump of a championship until he was in Miami, right? With a super team, So I definitely think the narrative of like kicking Ant, while he's down, like that should cease. And I think that he had a great quote when it came to not being hurt by the loss because he is 23. And like we said, like Ant will have the opportunity to do this again. Like I don't doubt that he will be back in the conference finals. I don't doubt that soon he'll make the finals and get his first championship somewhere. He's that special of a player. But I think because I think we want to see like we haven't had a player like Ant as NBA fans. I don't think we've had a player like Ant, all things considered, in a really, really long time. Like exciting on the court and off the court, like talks, backs it up for the most part, gives us a little bit of drama, but everything is so authentic that like it's hard not to root for him. We haven't had that. So we want him to have the things that make this conversation easy, I feel like. But, that's just not how careers work, for the most part. So you can say it's disappointing, but I also think it's just part of the narrative. And then to the team point that you were focusing on, Gail, I don't think it's a retool really at all. But I do think they need to figure out and maybe redirect or, just kind of figure out what is the best team for Ant. I think now you're in a position where you see where Ant's game is evolving to. How do you fit the roster around Ant now versus maybe what you did 2-3 years ago? Because you have a great piece in Jaden, right? You have, like, if they could keep Dante, I think Dante is a great piece you can really fit on any team for the most part. I think Nikhil should stay, right? But you probably are going to lose a Nas Reed because he's going to go and get his payday, because it's probably going to be there.
No, he might be the Bobby Portis of Minnesota.
Maybe, maybe he comes back.
They got good young talent too. They
do.
They do.
So a really good bench.
Like I don't know why
Conley gets phased out. I mean, he's got 2 years to groom Dillingham into a.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't understand.
Well, Rob was injured for some of the season, but I think because of just Minnesota's core, I think it was just hard to fit him in, let alone come playoff time. But I do think they have a successor for Conley in Dillingham. And I think that if you let Conley move to a bench role and you give Dillingham those minutes during the season, Conley will be ready to play meaningful basketball when it's that time. But getting Dillingham those reps and getting, Terrence Shannon those reps, like bringing those young guys along the same way you brought like Ant and Jaden along like all this time, like it's time to do that. And because your core is still so young, you're still somehow competitive in a very competitive conference. So there's no reason, like you said, actually, there's really no reason to hit the panic button, right? But yeah, I think for them, it's a learning lesson. Like it's another chink in their armor of like, these are their, war wounds, if you will. But they'll be back here at some point, not to say it'll be next year for sure, but we definitely haven't seen the last of Ant and the Timberwolves in, being in the conference finals and being, contenders deep into the season. We haven't seen the end of that. And I don't think their roster will look that much different in coming years. But we kind of touched on the Thunder, but definitely got to give them their flowers and kind of, give them their time to talk about them. But this has, outside of the Denver series, and that's just mainly because it went 7 games, but this is a relatively dominant run that they've had throughout the playoffs. And I think we all saw it in the regular season. And the question everybody said was, can they do this in the playoffs? Will this translate? They have all the pieces. Can they go and win it? And not that they necessarily had haters or strong doubters, but I think they're proving the point that, like, yeah, last season wasn't really a fluke. This season definitely wasn't a fluke. And to your point, Miguel, I mean, this team is legitimately set up for the next 5 to 10 years. And even when you think about the potential of losing core pieces, the draft picks that they might potentially come into in the next 5 years, where you might easily be replenishing core players with young talent that can be developed. This is ridiculous. Like, because, and let's talk about Shai for a second, because whether it's the free throw merchant, foul merchant, narrative or whatever, and y'all can definitely touch on how y'all feel about that, but Shai is a bona fide superstar, and a superstar that it doesn't seem like he'll have any reason to leave OKC anytime soon. And if all your players ideally are only going to get better, like, just think about this. Forget about Shai, J-Dub, and Chet. You got Hardenstein for 2 more years, right? You got Caruso. I don't know if his contract is up after this year or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if Caruso comes back for maybe not a vet min, but I could imagine him taking a pay cut. Case and Wallace impressed the hell out of me. I liked him already, but he impressed the hell out of me. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, like, all their young talent, like, they have time. And again, if these draft picks following are any inkling of what Sam Presti has done with the draft picks that are already stars, we're talking about the beginning of a dynasty here. And I don't think that it's too off kilt to say that. But yeah, just in whatever way you want to give the Thunder their flowers, and just talk about what this road to the finals means for this team and this organization.
I think more than talent fits, they did a great job of like character fits too.
Right.
Like you can see beyond, even like in the player interviews, how much camaraderie is really flowing. And honestly, I feel like they look so dominant because like they're having fun. It's like you can tell like they really enjoy being out there. Even when they're losing, like you could still kind of tell like, you know what? I bet next game they're going to get it back. It's kind of a shock now when they don't play as well as they're supposed to. And I have a lot of faith in Presti in terms of the draft picks. I think this year's first round, they have like 3 picks. That's insane. We're talking about a team that's in the finals that has like 2 or 3 first round picks this year. That's unfair. But it's like amazing. So, like you said, Steve, if they do happen to lose some core pieces, Presti, do your thing. They'll evaluate, and I know that he'll find talent in the draft that's easy fits in OKC.
They found the recipe. They got a star, a dude named Jalen, a defensive guard, a skinny white boy, and Derek White. Yeah. They got the recipe. Great meme. Kids, if you're listening, if you're watching this clip specifically, this is what team basketball does.
Okay, and to the East, unfortunately, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to start off like that. I didn't think this series would go past 5. I thought after how the games went in Indiana that they were just going to wrap it up. But Knicks won. It's 3-2 going back to Indiana at the time of this recording. I do think that the Pacers finish it in 6. It definitely, there's been drama and there's been entertainment for sure. And I can't say that I'm disappointed in the Knicks because it's not like they haven't played hard, right? But I think I just saw the series going a little bit differently. But what have been your thoughts on the series so far?
Yeah, I thought we would get a little more. I mean, we saw the inconsistency, if you will, throughout the regular season. Then, they come alive in the playoffs. They give Boston a nice run. We're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now it looks the same way as it did in the regular season. And y'all picked a terrible time to be playing like that.
I think the reason why I thought it was going to end in 5, and I think it's likely to end in 6, is because I don't think that the Knicks put together good enough games or great games, like put them back to back enough to beat a team this good. Like Boston, I mean, they caught Boston slipping twice in Boston. I don't think anybody saw that coming. And then obviously when Tatum got injured, it was just a completely different series. But even the games in Boston weren't great games by the Knicks as much as they were like, the Celtics losing.
Not hitting threes. Yeah.
So um and I and the thing is, I'm not rooting against the Knicks for a lot of different reasons. Love Brunson. I'm a fan of Miguel. Love Hart. Like I want great things for Cat. Right? He makes it difficult for himself, but I want great things for Cat. And just considering New York as a basketball environment, like would love for the Garden to have, to be able to host the finals and have all the things. Right? Like I want great things for New York, but I mean, we'll get to Indiana, but I just like they have to put together good games back to back to beat, good teams, and especially teams that are playing at the level that the Pacers are playing. And the Knicks just haven't shown they can do that. I feel like that's because they're more top heavy than anything. Because if you were to look at the rosters, you may argue that the Knicks have more, that they're more talented, I guess, depending on your definition. They definitely have more top tier talent, in my opinion. But Indiana can go 9, 10 deep, like in New York can't. I mean, Tibbs just did it in game 3 of the conference finals. Like Tibbs isn't even using his bench. And granted, maybe if he did, maybe things do look a little bit different, right? But I don't know. I just feel like, and I don't even want to get into the weeds of like roster construction and what they should do because I have no idea. I just think that's what's kind of handicapping them in this series. And as great as, game 5 was back against the wall at home, doing it in Indy for game 6 is going to be extremely tough. Doable, but extremely tough. But Pacers, I mean, good God. I just, not an Indy fan. I'm not. But I have to respect ethical basketball. I have to respect really good basketball, really good coaching, great play across the board. And I mean, we've been saying it, but they've been one of the better teams, one of the best teams in the league since January of 2025, right? And especially after the All-Star break as well. I don't know if anybody saw them getting better than they were last year. I think a lot of people probably thought last year was a fluke, so to say, as well. But they turned it around, made it back to the conference finals, and now are on the verge of making it to the NBA finals. So just thoughts on this Pacers playoff run. And I guess for me, my question is, what are you all most surprised by?
Thoughts. I'm trying to decipher whether they're really this good or it's been just luck.
Okay.
And that's number one. Number two, I'm surprised by how lucky they're getting and how often. Also, the fact that they're doing this as, a lower seed, they're like, what, 4 right now? 4 seed?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't expect them to be playoff risers. Like this Aaron Neesmith guy is doing what I thought Ben Matherin would be doing. Like, okay.
What was there today? He's hooping like that too. He's
Yeah.
a head
But
case.
not as consistently as he was last season before the injury. Last season before he got injured this season. And then I'm looking at Nimhard, and I'm like, you look like your brother in Gonzaga. And it's just, for me, that's the surprising part. It's just like, where did this come from? Is this luck, or can you guys really be reliable?
Yeah.
I don't think it's luck. And I think that,
No, they're good.
I mean, I think the players you've named, they've now done this for 2 playoffs in a row. Neesmith was a playoff riser last year. Nembhard was a playoff riser last year. They're doing it again this year. And I think the Pacers are also kind of showing that not so much that the regular season doesn't matter, but I think this experience and the Pacers are a team made up of players kind of like second chances, certain vets. Like they aren't this team full of like glamorous draft picks and stars, outside of maybe Halliburton, but even he himself, got passed up by a lot of teams, when he got drafted. And then the trade from Sacramento was, kind of highly regarded in regard to like how he felt about the trade and Sacramento not giving him a chance, XYZ, but yeah, I think that's something that kind of sticks out to me is the fact that this isn't a team that you expect to do this because these aren't players that you've heard about. All these players and playoff risers are players that, hell, I don't even know if people really knew about them until last year. You know what I'm saying? Until really the series against the Bucks, because honestly, I didn't know too much about Indiana's roster construction, outside of Halliburton and then when they got Siakam, right? So, I don't think I can call it a fluke after seeing it 2 years in a row and on the biggest stage at that.
Yeah, no, they're the real deal. They hoop. I don't know. I think it's really just their nucleus. They have two really good guards that can run their ship in Tyrese, and then their backup in TJ could hoop anywhere and be like, if he was in San Antonio, he would eat. If he was in, Houston, he would probably do well. Like you could put him in a lot of different spaces where it's like they have a really good flow. Everyone knows their role. They just run and gun. All you have to do is really fill a lane and like those guys will find you. And then that turns into them getting easy looks at the rim, helps that Tyrese can shoot the deep three. And yeah, I don't know. I think the hardest matchup for them will be OKC if they do get them, because I think they're just too handsy. It's a different look from going from Jokic to Tyrese, and I think that they'll be better off guarding someone like Tyrese because you just have to get early hands on him in the front court and just deny outright. And I think OKC has enough bodies to throw at Tyrese to do that. I think that New York has players that can, but over a 7-game series in a 48-minute game, I don't think that they have enough. And I think OKC is going to throw body after body at Tyrese until he wears down, kind of how Ant did. And TJ is, a good backup that can change the flow here and there, but I don't think it'll be enough for them to get over the hump. They're going to have a lot of turnovers that series that they didn't see in this Knicks series, I feel, if they did go on.
So it's really not giving look for you guys. And what I mean is Bucks series. Y'all know how that ended. Like, come on now. Cleveland series. He dribbles back and hits a prayer, basically. And then Cleveland gets hurt, whatever. Then you fast forward to this Knicks series.
He dribbled back and almost hit a three again.
Yeah, like what?
I mean, playoff risers. That
is not playoff rising. That's literally like.
I mean, even during the year, I've seen as Bucks fans. I think we've seen it too many times. This. I was going to use it. Tyrese ran to the corner and hit a prayer and one where he didn't get touched. Landing space, if you want to call it, and hit a three. And I can't call it luck. I can't call it luck. I've seen it too many times.
So I'm with Miguel, right? Like, trust me, actually, I'm hearing you, and every bone in my body wants to say, yes, I approve this message. But ethical ball fan,
every time.
They put themselves in position.
The ball bounces off the back of the iron.
Tyrese put up 30. Where I understood, Tyrese put up 32, 15, and 12 with 0 turnovers. That man can run an offense.
Granted, I'm not taking that away.
Tonight where he puts up like 4 points on 5 shots and XYZ, but it's like I've seen games like that where you're just really trying to set the table and you get too caught up on that when he's aggressive. They really win a lot.
Okay, so actually let me ask this because I'm hearing the luck argument, right? But
they've got a lot of injuries go their way too. Like I get it.
Yeah, they've had a lot of things go their way, as every champion typically does. Just throwing it out there. Like I don't think you can't fault the other team for being. I mean, you can't fault the team that's healthy for the other team being injured. So for
Yeah.
you, is the luck solely in the fact that they just haven't had to go through healthy teams in their runs, or do you think the shots they've made and the way games have failed, they've just been lucky?
I'm not saying they're lucky for injuries. I would never say that. But I'm saying, like, I get what you're saying, Miguel. They put themselves in position to have these opportunities. The last 3 minutes of the game, you're going to come back down 15 and throw up a prayer, and somehow, some way, it continuously goes in. Like, that's
But we're
absurd
living a
to
karmic
me.
cycle with that Knicks Pacers because whole if that I wish it would have been three solely for the fact they could have walked off on that. But for them to win that game, if they lose this series and he did that game one, oh no. But as it stands, that you could not script anything better than that for a
Facts.
first game. Well, that was game one, no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that was game one.
Knicks
come on.
also pissed down their leg that game. So
They did. They
that's why I
did.
was like, it like the Pacers. I think the fact that the Pacers style of play allows them to be in position in games they shouldn't be in position to win, and then the other team pisses down their leg, giving them a chance to win. There is no reason in game two in that Cavs series that they should have even been in position for Tyrese to hit that shot, right?
Hmm.
Like, shouldn't even be in position. Donovan Mitchell put up probably the best performance of their playoff run, if you want to call it that, in that game by himself because Garland, Hunter, and Mobley are out. That's not even the game you think the Cavs are supposed to win. But okay, Superman is in the building today. So, he goes off for 40 and you still somehow lose that game. And I think the thing is, Ashley, when you lose a game one or a game two like that, it's just demoralizing. So if that happens in game one or two, I don't think it's luck at that point because the Pacers also typically follow up these games. Like you never look at the Pacers winning a game like that in any of the games they've won this playoff run. You're not looking at those games or the following games and saying this team looks completely different. Like they always look like the same team, right?
Hmm.
No matter whether the other team don't piss down their leg and can put them away. And I feel like this is more of an indictment against other teams because teams can't put people away. Now, mind you, that's a league-wide thing because comebacks have been a thing all season, right? And even in the playoffs, right? Like we've seen a lot of teams come back down from 20, in one quarter, whatever the case may be. I think the Pacers have just been better at it than the rest of the teams in the playoffs, honestly, which all of those things said, it's hard to look at all that and side like err on the side of luck. Like I want to. The Milwaukee Bucks fan in me
Hmm.
wants to. I'm not a Tyrese hater, but the non-Tyrese fan in me wants to agree with you adamantly. But in trying to be a non-biased, ethical basketball fan for the sake of our audience, I cannot, in good faith, call it luck. Oh, I hate to say that. Ah, good God. So, in the NBA Finals preview, if we are looking at the Thunder and the Pacers, how are we feeling about this matchup?
Thunder in 6.
I think narrative wise, I think it's beautiful. Two small market teams are going to draw, I believe, a good product. I'll be watching illegally. Actually, now I have my parents' stream. Don't worry, Adam Silver.
ABC.
A lot of people don't have access in these places that we call Europe. We got European fans. Shouts out to my European fans on Stream East. No longer. I will not say the new name of the site that people reference. Anyways, it's going to be a good series. I think fast-paced team versus a very good defense. Like I said, I think this will be the hardest challenge that Tyrese Haliburton has seen. This will be his knock down a peg into, his square of superstardom. I believe. I think OKC in 5. Indiana's been recklessly good, so it could be Indiana in 5. I don't want to put that out in the universe, but they've proven everybody wrong at every step, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's closer than OKC in 5, but they've just been that dominant, and I don't see Indiana having a really good half court offense to really change the fact that if they don't get running, that they won't win this series unless they somehow start to run sets for Pascal. But they haven't done it yet. So
my thoughts on that. I don't know if I could call it just yet. If I had to, gun in my head, I'd probably agree with Ashley, Thunder in 6. Because I do think the Pacers are good enough and they're playing good enough to where they'll get 2 games. However, the Thunder's defense has been amazing. So I do feel like it would heavily affect Haliburton. But that brings me to the point of feeling like, what does Pascal look like in this series? Because not only is there Chet and Hartenstein, but you can throw a Lou Dort, on a Pascal, and that's still formidable, even though Lou Dort is shorter, obviously. But I think because they have so many different people they can throw at both of their major weapons, and then on top of that, you still got somebody that can guard Miles Turner in space and or in the post. Like, every weapon that Indiana has, OKC like absolutely has an answer for. And what Indiana has feeded off of, OKC also has in terms of depth. Now, you could say all of the inverse, at least from the terms of depth, for OKC as well. They haven't played a team yet that's had the depth that Indiana has. I think the difference is when you're looking at OKC's top 3 and Indiana's top 3, I think you're taking OKC's top 3. The benches may even out. Like you going down 9th, 10th man, the bench is more than likely even out. But I think if it comes down to the performance of those top 3, you probably.
I'll take OKC's bench too.
I'm just saying it's closer. I'm saying I think
Yeah,
the benches are closer than the top 3, in my opinion. And that's no disrespect to Indiana. I just think if
yeah.
you looking at Shea, J Dub, and Chet, and you looking at Halliburton, Siakam, and I don't even know if they have a clear third.
Miles.
Miles.
Like, I think you taking that OKC 3. And I'm probably taking them to have, if not better games, I'm taking them to be more consistent in the series. I think Indiana, if they're playing great, everybody eats. If they're not playing great, one out of those 3 has a great game. I think we've seen instances where OKC looks the same in terms of how things fall with their big 3, but I think at least 2 of their big 3 any given night are likely to show up. Versus when Indiana has a bad game, it'll be one of them, if not all of them, not showing up. And I think that'll end up being the difference in a couple games that makes it, Thunder in 6. Well, I mean, we are here in the finals. It'll be much more fun doing game by game once the finals hits. We'll have some days in between, so we'll be able to, get some within series, commentary to you all. But yeah, no, perfect timing. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, no, that has been a jam-packed episode talking about the conference finals and doing a little bit of a preview for the NBA finals. And yeah, like we said before, for the finals, we're gonna try to do in between a couple games here and there, really do some in-game analysis and not in-game analysis, but like post-game analysis and get a chance to see how the series shifts and turns, whatever the case may be. Yeah, hopefully we get a good one. But a lot of information to take in. Make sure y'all are following the clips. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to the page, and all those good things and all that good jazz. And yeah, until next episode and until we are in the midst of the NBA finals, we will catch y'all next time, man. Peace.
Salute me or shoot me.
Crying.